Hello to the Legal Key Facebook followers and to all those that this video has been shared with. We have decided to jump on the bandwagon and use our social media platforms to assist the public with information, especially legal, to help guide and navigate circumstances that we are currently facing. As you know, law itself is a constant change, so too with the implications of the COVID-19 pandemic. You would have obviously seen that every month since March 2020, the laws have changed so quickly that before one could get used to the change, a new change had sprung. This will be ongoing until the country is free of infection. For now, this post will deal with the return of children to school because we know that parents out there are filled with much anxiety and conflict. We will be highlighting the government's stance, regulations, and parents' and children's rights and responsibilities during this time. So we know that our kids have been away from school since mid-March. At that point, parents assumed that kids would return only when the infection rate was nil. And during such time, the media and social platforms have been bombarding parents with all different kinds of information, whether true or opinionated, that has now placed them in a position of uncertainty. The Minister of Basic Education has announced that children need to return to school on the 8th of June, commencing with the grade 7s at primary school and grade 12s at high school, and further dates for all other grades. While we are not here to provide any medical or scientific opinion on the pandemic itself, the reality is that we can no longer remain at home like we were during Alert Level 5. This means that we all need to adapt. This includes our children. During this video, I'll be making reference to many documents and sources that I cannot traverse in detail for the sake of time. But if you are a parent that is listening and watching, I encourage you to appraise yourself of these sources as soon as possible. They will be made available on this post, or you may contact our offices for further information. The government has issued regulations which ideally are the laws that determine how schooling should proceed during the pandemic. The regulations deal with what the minimum health and safety measures are to be complied with at schools, and it is clear that if these regulations are not adhered to at a particular school, the school must remain closed until they are. Our interpretation of this means that after reading these regulations and going to school, and should you notice that your school is not in compliance, you and your child have a right to report to the necessary authority that the school is not in compliance. We also bring to your attention the insertion of a new subdirection which states that the Education Department must make arrangements with a school for learners to receive ongoing teaching and learning if that school does not reopen during the allocated time that the government has stipulated. However, regulations do not support any means or manner in which this will be rolled out. Neither has it supplied schools with the way forward if this has to happen. We all know that parents are not sending their children to school either because their children have a known illness that may be a catalyst for the infection, or may just have low immunities, or mostly that they may not be confident in the school that all protocols are in place to protect and safeguard their children. The regulations state that parents do have a choice on whether to send their children back to school or not, both carrying varying responsibilities. If you elect not to send your child to school, even if it is from a place of fear, you have to apply to the Department of Education to successfully homeschool your child. This means that you cannot keep your child at home and not have them study at all. Neither the Department of Education nor the regulations have explicitly detailed how this process will be conducted. But given the minister's coy statement that parents cannot send their kids to school because they are feeling anxious, can be interpreted as the lack of enthusiasm in granting parents the choice to homeschool. I do not want to go into much detail about the dynamics of homeschooling, except to say that the responsibilities of a parent are greater and more onerous. We anticipate that the application to the department itself will be a challenge. Our advice, if you choose this route, that you gather valuable information as quickly as possible and keep informed. Get in contact with parents that have been homeschooling and who have reputable teaching resources. You will see on the screen a policy that has been drafted by the Department of Education detailing the homeschool application procedure and the circumstances when the government will grant such application. If you are contemplating homeschooling for a period only where you feel unsafe about the COVID-19 pandemic and you want to place your child back into the schooling system at some point, we advise that this entire process could be cumbersome. It is best that you sit with the school management to outline your concerns and get guarantees from them about their systems in place before you opt for homeschooling. We would now like to turn your attention to some of the anticipated issues you and your child might face at school upon return. In discussing these, we will make reference to the regulations that have been issued and also to the standing operating procedures or SOPs that the department has sent to all schools to implement. Foremost, assuming that the school is in full compliance with the regulations and is ready to welcome learners, the regulations state that if your child presents to you any symptoms of COVID-19, your child should be kept at home. You need to know what these symptoms are. As you can see, at this point, it is a judgment call taken by a parent. If, however, your child presents symptoms at school, according to the SOP, the action that should be adopted is that your child should be isolated, given a mask if they don't already have one. You must be called to school immediately and your child must be tested. Your child must be kept at home until the symptoms disappear. If a learner, teacher, support staff, cleaner, anyone on the school premises has been exposed to someone suspected of having the virus, but whose results are yet to be ascertained, no measures are necessary until the lab results of that person are received. In the case where a learner, teacher, support staff, cleaner has been exposed to someone who has been proven to have the virus, the SOP states that all persons exposed to that person must stay at home and quarantine themselves for 14 days, looking out for symptoms of the virus. They may not attend school. As soon as you notice symptoms, you must then get tested. The school must be in continuous contact with the Department of Health, discussing all risks, infections, and obtaining advice on how to handle suspected and positive cases. Please note, schools are not mandated to close upon finding a positive infection. Any person entering the school must be screened for symptoms. Hopefully, your child's school has a temperature reading thermometer. Every school must have sufficient hand sanitizers, soap, and water. If a school is lacking in these basic requirements, we advise that you contact the relevant authorities, as sanitation is a key element in preventing the spread of the virus. As a safety measure, please send your child with their personal hand sanitizer. Regarding the wearing of masks, although the regulations do not state this, learners will receive 2 masks from the school. Masks need to be washed every day, and if this is the case, 2 masks will not suffice. We urge parents to invest in more masks and to encourage your child to use them at all times they are at school. The greatest hurdle your child will have to face at school during this time is social distancing. The regulations state that a distance of 1.5 meters must be maintained at all times between any person. We again urge parents to engage with your children on the importance of this. There are several other sub-matters regarding the return to school, but for now we hope that this presentation will shed some comfort to parents. We understand that this presentation was long, but we thought it imperative to inform parents and guardians and school-going children what to expect upon return to school and what protocols should be in place. As a parent, your child has a right to an education, and every school body has a responsibility to abide by the regulations that are in place. Should you feel that a school is not adhering, you have absolute right to contact the department's next in charge to report on non-compliance or lack of PPEs. The regulations and SOP can be found on the links below. We encourage all parents to study them in detail. We further encourage all parents to engage and communicate with your children, as this is all new territory for them, and absolute support and guidance is needed. We have attached a link of a webinar that was conducted recently by health officials and parents who provide good advice to parents on how to navigate the return to school. Please like and share our post so that this information can be shared with as many parents as possible. Information is always key. Should you need more information regarding a specific topic, a legal change, or legal implications, please get in touch with us. You are welcome to email us on the email address provided. Stay tuned for more legal updates.